It's just terrifying, but we're going to lose the rights which our parents and grandparents fought for and in some cases laid down their lives, without even noticing. And having lost them, it will be really, really hard to get them back. We've grown up in peaceful, hugely privileged times when our rights have been protected, and I think we've just taken them for granted a bit too much. So now they are under threat by certain legislation going through Parliament at the moment. The policing bill, the electoral reform bill, all threaten. They remove the right for judicial review. They threaten the independence of the courts and indeed the oversight of elections. Any sort of protest will be made virtually illegal. Anyone encouraging protest or participating or distributing literature, encouraging people over the internet, will be subject to 51 weeks in prison. Anyone damaging a statue, up to 10 years. About 20 years ago, there was a trial of GM maize just across the river from where I was growing my small field of vegetables at the time, and I started reading about it and getting really concerned about the danger of GM crops. And together with some other local people from South Devon, we organised a protest. I couldn't believe how many people came and joined us in a field, and we marched down the road, blocked the traffic. Someone handed me a megaphone and I ended up giving a speech about it, and it was very widely reported. And then, encouraged by Friends of the Earth and the Soil Association, I did actually challenge the government and took it all the way to the High Court in a judicial review. That kind of brought it into the public realm, and it was debated, and on the whole British people decided they didn't want GM crops, and for the most part they've been kept out of our fields and off our shelves ever since. Under the legislation which is currently going through Parliament, none of that will be allowed. Virtually the right to dissent is being removed, whether that is expressed through protest, through helping to organise a protest, through judicial review. All of this is being severely curtailed, if not removed, and those who participate in protests are threatened with really draconian jail terms. So, 51 weeks, almost a year, for participating in any way in a protest which is deemed illegal. And who deems it illegal? Priti Patel deems it. Not the police, not the courts, the government deems it. So, I would have been definitely in prison for a year, no question about it. The judicial review would not have been allowed. I mean, these are really, fundamental threats to our rights and freedom. And I feel I have to protest because it's anything but patriotic. It is threatening the very values that our country has been built on and that my parents fought for. My dad, who's buried there, fought in the army, and my mum drove an ambulance, and they had fought to protect the freedoms which probably me and my generation and subsequent generations have taken for granted. The right to protest, the right to an independent judiciary, independent police, to fair elections which are not overseen by the government but are overseen by an independent body. All these things are under threat by the policing bill going through government at the moment, the election review bill going through, and other bills. And we threaten to lose the rights which our parents and grandparents fought for, and millions of people died, to defend a Britain which is very different to the Britain that Priti Patel and Boris Johnson are threatening us with. So I urge everyone to protest, to use your voice, to write to your MP, to make as much noise as possible while you're still allowed to, actually, because within a few months it will be virtually illegal to protest. So use your voice, use it loudly, and use it now.